So welcome to everyone. I think we've got a few first timers on today. So welcome to those who are here for the first time. The format of this is really quite simple. I'll share the whole concept of 1% Club is to look at those marginal gains. I picked this sort of the name from Sir Dave Brailsford, and he started talking about if we can implement 1% improvements on everything, then the overriding result is significantly greater than a 1% uplift. So yeah, it's just sharing best practices, world-class basics, and hopefully, if you implement them, you'll start to see some improvements in your results, whether that's in your career, in your business, and indeed, I think what we've said in the past, a number of these are applicable across just general life, the life skills that we talk about, to be fair. So the format is I'll spend 15-20 minutes sharing this best practice, and then we open it up to the floor and we'll have a discussion, often about the subject area. But equally, we open it up, and there's opportunities then to broaden the conversation. For those that don't know me, there's a couple of people I think I've not formally met before. Tony Lockwood. I have 25 plus years change and transformation experience, originally in banking, and then moved into just other sectors, worked heavily in engineering, manufacturing, support services, construction, social housing. When COVID hit, I think like a lot of us, we had that oh shit moment. What we're going to do now is all the projects came to an abrupt end. I sat back and looked at where have I got most of my client relationships from? Where the projects originated from? And 96-7% of them have come from the network. So I thought on the basis that had happened to me, probably will happen to lots of other people. Why don't we create a community exclusively for those working in change and transformation to come together, to build relationships, and hopefully open opportunities up? And that was the catalyst for the Transformation Leaders Hub, which we launched back end of 2020, and it's been growing. And back end of last year, we started these 1% Club Roundtables. So I think this is the 23rd of these. So we tend to do them weekly. There's been a couple of weeks where we haven't done them, so we're probably like half a year into it now, which is good, and certainly the feedback that we've been getting is really positive. So without further ado, let me get into today's session. I'll just share my screen. So today's session is 4 tips to boss your LinkedIn About section. Why does that matter? And why is it important that we do go about bossing that About section? Well, on the basis that LinkedIn is the number one B2B social network out there, it's got lots and lots of people, 700 million users, and because there's 700 million users, it's quite hard to stand out. So it's really positive because your next employer or your next client is probably active on the site. Certainly, lots of organizations are going to places like LinkedIn and Transformation Leaders Hub to find people now, direct, but equally, recruiters use LinkedIn extensively to find suitable candidates for projects moving forward. But you need to stand out. So my take on how to use LinkedIn, and we've covered LinkedIn a number of times over the last 23 of these sessions, is to focus all your profile on to your ideal client or ideal employer. Talk to them directly, and that can sound counterintuitive, but it's not. It's the way to stand out is to grab the people's attention of those people that you want to work with, and actually there may only be a couple of hundred people on LinkedIn that you would really ideally like to work with. So the focus should be to talk directly to those couple of hundred people, as opposed to talking generally to the 700 million, if that makes sense. So let's talk to them directly in a way that grabs their attention and engages them to take action, which the action we want them to take is to contact you, so it can generate opportunities for you. So when you're doing that, and we've spoken about this a number of times in the past, and if you want to catch up with any of the recorded, we make them available through TLH and also through through a Facebook group that we've set up for this. Basically, what you need to consider when you are putting your overall profile together is to focus upon your one thing. So become really well known for doing one thing, and you can specialize in that, then you can position yourself. Doesn't mean that that's all you've got to do, but if you position yourself and really specialize in that and talk to that avatar, ideal client or employer in that way, it will really strike a chord.
It's next to orator, so if you're standing at the roundabout, orator.
Can you just put yourself on mute? The other thing to look at is, again, treat your profile as a sales letter, not as a CV.
Tony, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think somebody on the call is not on mute, and I'm really struggling to hear you.
Yeah, I'm just put everyone on
just come up to the apartment, it's fine.
Sorry, can everyone just go on mute, please?
Steve McCormick, I think you're not on mute.
Right, just let me get down to I thought I could control the mute. I can't find the thing. Sounds better now. So yeah, treat it as a sales letter. So really start to look at it in that way. And we've spoken about this in the past, the AIDA principle. So a headline to grab their attention, something to build their interest, an element to build a desire, and then a call to action. So really make your profile easy to read and engage with, and ultimately include that call to action. So all of that is things to consider, but let's now look at these 4 tips, and really by looking at it through the eyes of the reader, through the eyes of the person that's going to be looking at your profile. What are they considering? What are they asking as they look through your profile? So I think there's 4 things. So one, the first question is, who are you? You know, and a lot of times people fall into the trap of positioning themselves as a program director at ABC company, or a change manager at ABC company, or change manager at something else. And again, I covered this again previously, but really start to focus upon the value that you can deliver to your specific avatar, to the ideal candidate or client, or the ideal employer. So really focus upon the value. So instead of saying program director at ABC company or change manager at ABC company, start to talk about something like this. I'm passionate, strategic thinking change lead that supports manufacturing businesses to achieve operational excellence. If I'm a manufacturing director, or director of a manufacturing business that's got problems with their operational efficiencies, then I'll look at that and I'll think, well, bloody hell, you're talking direct to me. If I'm a financial services person, I'll skip, because, and actually that's what you want. You don't, because you're not interested in working with financial services industry people. You want them just to carry on, and you focus upon, in this case, manufacturing business owners or business leaders to connect with you. Just one second. Right, okay, so number 2, the next question they're asking is, tell me more. So if I'm that manufacturing person, and I've seen your profile, the first thing you say is that you work with manufacturing businesses to help them on operational excellence. Yeah, that will grab my attention. It will suck me into your profile, and then I want to know a little bit more. I want to understand whether you're a good fit for me. And if you're not, then we can move on. So really at this stage, it's about including a paragraph describing what you contribute and the value that you deliver within those organizations that you work with. So it is that salesy message, but you don't need to come across as a sales message, but it is basically about saying to people, your ideal client or the ideal employer, this is the value that you will get if you engage with me now. So again, just taking that example further on, you know, the paragraph could be, I create something like, I create sustained operational improvements through the implementation of lean operating systems, and that typically results in 25% efficiency gains, whatever it is. Yeah. Again, if I'm that manufacturing leader and I've got a particular issue with my operational performance, this is going to really strike with them and really they'll pick up on this, and then they'll want to go deeper and they'll want to start to engage with you. So, and probably the next question that they're asking themselves is, well, prove it. Tell me more, you know, tell me more, but prove that what you've told me previously, that you can deliver 25% improvement or whatever it is, explain and prove it to me. And the way that you do that is, instead of just mapping out a list of projects or a list of clients that you've worked with, focus in on 3 to 5 of your strongest accomplishments. So, and those should almost be simple, brief paragraphs explaining particular outcomes to projects that you've worked on. Use this STAR approach. This is something that we used in the bank 30 years ago, but it's let's briefly describe the situation you found, then explain the task that you were brought in to achieve, the actions that you took, and the results that you delivered. And if you can then also then identify an organizational name, or if not a name, certainly the sector that it's in, then that will really start to demonstrate that you're not just in sales mode, you've got something that's really valid and really credible that supports them. And ultimately that will get them to start engaging with you, because you've hit them with a pain point ultimately that they're experiencing. You've demonstrated that you can deliver value, and you've also proved it by highlighting 3 to 5 examples of where that's been delivered. Those 3 things are absolutely critical, I think, to get people, critical to get you to stand above the crowd, focus in, and get your ideal client or ideal employer to stop, take notice, and actually start to engage with you. The fourth tip is really, should have probably been positioned as number 1, but without doing these 3 things, it's meaningless. But when you go into LinkedIn and start to search people, typically your ideal client or ideal employer will start to search on specific terms. They won't search for Tony Lockwood, or if they did, then they know that I'm probably someone that I could help them with. So you've already built that relationship. But they'll start to focus in on some of their pain points. So we need to start to identify some keywords or key phrases that will show up in a LinkedIn search. And what I suggest that we do at the bottom of your About You profile, just include a number of these keywords and key phrases, 12 to 15 maximum. But what it does, because it's in your profile, if I go on now and put in lean manufacturing, operational excellence, efficiency gains, or a number of those, yeah, along with maybe consultant, maybe my location, then it's highly likely that, you know, the people that are providing those lean manufacturing, operational excellence will come up in that search field. Yeah. So if you can drop these keywords, key phrases in ultimately just a list at the bottom of your profile, it will then trigger LinkedIn to bring your profile up in that search string, and then when they click through it, to look at your about you page in more details. If you structure it like we've just been speaking, the highlight you stand out from the rest of the crowd, and people will touch base with you. So those are the 4 things. We've gone through that quite quickly. We go into a lot more detail in the LinkedIn Essentials program, which is part of the Transformation Leaders Hub. If you're not involved in TLH already, there's a link to it there. Go on. There's you can join for free. There's a paid version, but there's a free version as well. The LinkedIn Essentials training goes, as I say, covers this as well as a lot more in terms of how to get the maximum out of LinkedIn. And if you are in business, building a consulting business, then the TLH Mastermind, 1% Club Mastermind program, where we look to work with you to build and scale that consulting business in the momentum phase, the first phase, we do a lot more around LinkedIn in this outreach piece as well. So again, if you want to know a little bit more about that, click on that, and we can have a conversation, have a discussion about it, and see where you are and how we can maybe help. But with that, let me stop sharing and open it up for comments, views, or your personal experiences.